Alright, welcome back guys. I've done some work. So you can see we have a little area right here now. And I have a plan here. I'm going to create a little way over right here, and there's going to be a gate. There'll be a gate right here, and they won't be able to come through this gate. They won't attack that. They will work their way down here, is what they're going to try to do. And of course, if they're ranged, they'll probably attack your towers. Because like I said, it's not like a normal tower defense. So this way would open up later on, and then you'd have to focus on that as well. So then they would be coming down both ways, in a way. And as you can see, it's a little different. In this side, there's gaps, but in this side, it's just a row down. So it's your decision. And I increase the size right there. Next, so I am going to create our region. This is just going to be for area 1, basically. They spawn in over here. Let's go back to terrain and make a little spawn area, shall we? That's as big as it is. It really doesn't need to be that big, does it? There we go. This will be our spawn area for when guys spawn in. Oops. Delete that. So we want to click this, and now if I click this button here, I can drag it. I want to zoom in. I want to make sure I like to be somewhat precise on these regions a bit. I just like to make sure I get as best as I can. And of course, when I place the gate there, I shouldn't really need a region. We'll add another region. And of course, this region is the most important region, obviously, the build area. It's the area where they decide what they're going to do. Alright, so let's say you're having some trouble with your map. You can't really see very well right there, can you? Well, you could always change the view. See, one nice thing about this game, if I can find it. There it is, letterbox mode. This lets you change the map a bit. It's a little different to look at, so you can easily turn that off. But it does help in some cases. I can snap to game camera, so okay, this lets us see the way the game would be looked at. This is game settings, obviously, how it would look like that. Yeah, we need to increase that. Whoop, not that far. Right against the wall, basically. That's what we want to do. Now, in the terrain palette again, guys, I'm going to show you. This is the ramp button. So, be sure to have it on 1. You really don't need it any more than that. Let's make ourselves a ramp right here. So there is our ramp. As you can see, it's a fairly wide ramp. So then I just go to the same level. Do it bit by bit, and there we go. I can do grass, or I can do leaves. I think I will make this leaves. Just be sure you don't do this, or as you can see, it wrecks it. As can be seen right here. So let's remake that ramp. Again, that's just bam, 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 bam. Right, happens. Just do this. And there we go, fixed. So there's our ramp leading up to this upper section where you can build things. So from here, we're going to go back to the region palette. So I can make one more region. We're going to create basically a region here. add a region here. That'll be just fine like so. So now what I want you to do is right click some of these. So for example, this one here, we're going to edit region properties. I like to change the color a bit. I want this to be light green so I can understand that this, guys, is the spawn area. So this is where we spawn in, and this is where the enemy will spawn in as well. This is main base. This is probably where you have your base area. Dark green, so that I can remember that, as you can see. Green isn't obviously the best color for this, so you can obviously color them whatever works best for you. I guess we'll have a... Oh wait, it is light blue. What am I saying? Okay, we'll go with dark blue. This will be first gate. And of course we have this one. It's advised if you have things like this, you keep them the same color so you know what they're for. And we'll call this the later gate. Or rather, later area that they go into, basically. So let's actually edit this to make it easier to see. Let's go with dark teal. That looks pretty noticeable. Semi. And of course, you can even set up regions. So I'm going to create a weather region. Add a region. Now, of course, this region will overlay the others for now. And you can see I kind of go over up something of the way just to be safe. And I want you to name this if you're following along. Otherwise, don't worry about it. I'm just going to call it weather because that's what it's going to be for. So be sure to extend it all the way up. Check down here. Yeah, it needs to come down. There we go. Alright, now you can edit. I like to make it in color that's paled out, so I often go with gray, or to be very obscure, light gray, as you can see. Now, of course, weather effect. I'm going to use Ashen Veil Rain Light. So now it's you see it's somewhat raining. I'll move in a bit so you can see, yep, there's a slight rain there. It's not very noticeable. Let's go back to the region palette. So I could also... What it's going to be is it's going to be Dungeon Fog. And I'm going to use... let's take a look at the different fogs. I'm going to show you stuff. So this would be blue fog. But there's really nothing there to see, so... Region... Oops, you don't need to add a new region. You want to edit this one again. I can use Lordaeron Rain, so we'll go with Lordaeron Rain Light, and I'll show you. It is raining, it's just hard to tell. Probably be easier if I set it to Lordaeron Rain Heavy. Or not. I guess I'm not as good as I thought. I thought that would make it rain. Dungeon Fog. See, there it is. Now it's raining. I was probably hitting cancel. So I could have Lordaeron Rain. I could have Rays of Light. I could go with Red Fog. All kinds. See, there's fog there appearing. There is a fog, or I can even have a Dalaran Shield. So we can have a lot of different weather effects. Ashen Veil Rain. Let's go with, for the weather for now, it'll be rays, let's see. It can be rays of moonlight, although you really won't see much from this. So we'll just go with Lordaeron Rain Light. Because I won't want anything big. And let's go open the unit palette now. So now, guys, it's time to go into our editors. I'm going to teach you some of the object stuff that we can do to make the map work, obviously. So, object editor. Again, that key would be hitting the F6. If I hit that key now, I'm just going to stop the recording, so I better not do that. But yeah, I can hit the F6 key if I wanted to bring this up at any time, but since that's already in use. So we're going to make a new doodad. Now you can choose what you want to use. Sorry, not doodad. It's destructible. We're going to make a new destructible. And again, you can choose what it's going to be. I suggest, if you don't know what you want to use for a gate, go in the doodad palette. Trees and destructible. You can see cityscape trees, so we can look at the trees. I suggest looking at each tree. So we have cityscape trees. These are winter, summer, snowy, and fall. So you can delete them pretty easily. Just drag with the... See, simple as that. Drag, hold the left mouse button down and drag, and then, you hit your delete button on the keyboard and that will delete it. That's the easiest way. So I can make city entrances. Those are pretty big. I may have to make my own, guys, because it's so big. This is probably what we'll have to do. So let's just look at the different gates so we can choose a gate. We can use demon gates. It's up to us. We can use dungeon gates. We can use elven gates. But of course the elven gates are kind of nice. So yeah, why don't we use those to start things off. We want the elven gates. Now of course, when you can destroy the gate, but you can also open the gate with triggers, and that's what we're going to do. King's Throne. I could have a King's Throne back here. Now I can rotate the doodad. This sets it to random rotation, but if I was to say turn that off, place here, left click it, press enter, then all we gotta do is click this. And this, oh, that's the scale. Okay, this is the scale, so this is how big it looks. So you can see I can change the size. Now, of course, we have the portal. This is probably what we're going to use to have the guys come through to make it look interesting. We can set this up and then have them come out, obviously, of this. Now, this, you can change the rotation. Okay, so you can't change the rotation of everything, but obviously magic pins, stone walls, support columns, of course a volcano. But of course that's optional, you really don't need that, obviously. So we can choose the tree. There's the black citadel trees. Mushrooms, basically. Which is the same, I believe, as the dungeon trees. Those are mushrooms, so if we wanted fungi. And I think it's also... yeah, Outlands as mushroom. And I think... Underground is mushroom, yeah. So those are mushroom tree walls. Now, of course, he can be user specified. We can have village fall, regular trees. Village. Sunken ruins, obviously. We can have canopy trees or just regular trees. And as you can see, some of the trees are tall, some were small. Well, like I said, you just have to kind of go through them bit by bit. Northrend. These are dead trees. Or rather, trees that have no leaves, per se. Ice Crown Glacier has some interesting trees. You know, you have the canopy trees. These are nice. And you also have these kind of trees. And also in Ashenvale, we also have canopy trees, which we might decide to use. I don't know yet. We'll have to decide. So, yeah. Things are interesting, guys. What else can we do? Well, I think we'll use Ashenvale trees, but we need to use custom trees to make sure that we have enough wood. Because I want you guys to have to harvest wood in this map. You have to harvest trees and gold, and you have to move pretty fast. Alrighty. I had to take a quick sip. Thirsty work. So let's do Ashenvale trees. And again, I'm not sure. Okay, I am indestructible, so we click this. Trees indestructible. Ashenvale tree walls, and we're just going to call this Ashen tree. Now, I'm not going to worry you too much, but you can show if it's shows up on the minimap, if it uses a custom color, the minimap color, fog visibility, flyover height. Something's on Steam. I can choose the model file, which is obviously a lot of trees. I could choose occultation height, which is basically how big it is. The selection size, game and editor. The tint. The combat armor, it's targeted as tree. It's placed as random, on a random scale. Category, has tile-specific data, false. Maximum and minimum scale, so this is actually how big, sorry. Oh, well, I don't really know on that other thing. Occultation height. I'll have to remember that one. Let's see. You could have it on a user-specified list. Cliffs and water. If it has a dead version, a helper object, hit points, and if it can be built. Not that it needs to be repaired either. I will add an editor suffix. Provides... Let's have it provide 300 wood. Basically, every life point this tree has is equal to 1 wood. So we're going to do this, and we're going to click the F2 key while this is selected and call it Ashen Tree 1, and make a copy. Control C, obviously. Control C, then Control V. There we go. And we made a copy of the tree. Provides 500 wood. Give it 500 life, and then I'm going to make another copy. And of course, this is the tree. There are not going to be very many of these trees, but they do provide the most wood, so Provides 1,000 wood. So that way we have several different trees to use. I like to have a couple different things to choose from. Let's start making some units, though. But the first order of business, obviously, will be to make a gate. I suggest using this as your starting thing. We're going to make gate open. Well, we're going to have gate open, gate close. Obviously, I'm going to have to fix that L. So usually when you have this, you don't have it require anything, so it's not going to upgrade to anything, obviously. All this is meant as is... Oh, well, you know what I ought to have done? Is delete. Normally I think what you would do is have a unit associated, so gate open. We'll use the peasant. Gate close. Now, don't worry about abilities or health or anything at all for tinting. This unit is not going to be seen or used. You don't even have to worry about the upgrades used. The thing you want to think of changing, if you're going to have a gate, what we need to do is obviously change the icon in the game interface. So we don't want to use the peasant. I want to use a very specific icon. That's in the extra category. Some people like to use this as, let's see, so this is gate close. Really? Interesting. Anyway, so gate, where is, yeah, ally priority high, ally priority low. This is generally what they use, but you don't have to use this. I'm just using it because it's simple. So again, changing the icon, extra, So gate. Oops, I have them backwards. And of course, then I would mess up right there, wouldn't I, guys? So we're gonna have that green, but we're gonna have this as red for close. Now we're gonna make the gate. Now the gate we do want to change. So first the interface. I suggest going into your units. This is where you'd find all units, including doodads, I believe. Would that be in unit special? No, that's oh, this is the icon. Okay, so we're gonna need to use something particular, I'd say, for this. So, like for example, we could use the demon gate. I want to see, what would it be called? An elven gate? Would it be under E? No. I wonder what I should. Well, these gates apparently don't have much of an icon, do they? If it could be placed, would it have an icon? Alright, well, I guess the icon game interface is fine as a scout tower, so long as it says gate. The model file is the thing to change, and of course the ground texture. So let's go into our unit date palette. When I work on a unit, I like to be able to see what I'm looking at, so hit the escape button and you automatically leave the selection. Alright, where's our object editor? I don't want to have to scroll down there too much, so the model file needs to change. So that's where the doodads would be found. Yes, destructibles and doodads. So we want to use an elven gate. And there it is. It's pretty big though, so let's change the scale. The scaling value down to say 60. That's better. But we want to change. Now we want to change the pathing. Also, I want to change the ground texture. Oops, not that. I would not recommending using that. You could do this, but I prefer to set it to none. It doesn't need a thing on the bottom. It just needs a few simple things. So we don't have this upgrading anything. This is just a gate. Doesn't use these upgrades, obviously, but it does train certain units. So we want to modify this. You want to add the 2 units that we made. Open and close. You want to add gate open. Now you'll make a copy of the gate after it's made, and this gate will be the open gate, but it will be invulnerable. So when you choose the armor, which would be up here in combat, defense type, you choose it as, I believe, I am not actually sure on that note. I am pretty sure though. I'll have to get to that in a second. So let's just look at the pathing then, shall we? Because it's the pathing that we need to look at. So you can see we have a couple different things to choose from. I could choose a dimensional gate. I suggest you choose and you can actually go into destructibles. That's what we want to do, and go into the elven gate, or basically gate in this case, which basically gives it a gate 1 path. course. Alright, well, in that case, I guess we're just going to give it... I was hoping to have it actually look like a gate, but... Custom pathing is not exactly easy to do, so... But it is possible. We might go into that later on. We probably will. So let's go back into units, and let's just use this because it's small and simple. So in truth, I could have, say, 1, 2, up to 3 gates right there, as you can see. But really, you just need the one. We can, well, hang on. I want to see how this gate looks. I may want to change the size a bit more. So one thing I can change is the selection scale. And that's the selection scale, nothing big. The selection scale has nothing to do with how big it really is. So, I mean, I could up the selection scale and make it really easy to select. We'll just make it that big. And I'm going to lower the scaling down to 50. Okay, there. Which means I can actually decrease this down a freckle. I'm not going to change the color. Now you can even choose how the AI places this, and of course the radius of placing these around. But, you know, not exactly easy. So, first off, repair cost, repair time. This thing repairs pretty quick, but would use up to about 50 of your wood, as you know, and no gold. And we're not going to have it cost any gold. We're going to have it cost 250. Well, that's a tad much. Let's just keep it 150. You know, hit points should be something reasonable for a gate, like 500. You know, it's a wall. It's going to have health. 20 seconds of build time. Gold cost, set it to 0. Sight radius, we want to drop that sight radius. This is a gate. Since when do gates see far, guys? Even the most... Yeah, I didn't mean to bring that up. Even the best of people would know that a gate would eventually, you know... It only sees so far, basically. So, build gate. And the hotkey for that will be G. A basic gate designed to let you out and keep the bad guys, to keep you safe and keep the baddies out. Because I feel like using the word baddies. Alright. Now, of course, point value is used in triggers. You really don't need to worry about that unless you have triggers. Is a building, obviously. Otherwise, I could say false. There's a lot of things. So, like, for example, a unit, say a custom footman, we'll just call it Scout Tower. I'm going to show you something. So down here you can see is a building. I could change. So if you look down here you can see, obviously, this is what he has. Now, if I was to change is a building to true, then it changes it to a building. So if I wanted to use certain things of a footman, though, then it would basically be a, as you can see, footman. So then I'm building it instead of training it. So, you know, depending on the map you're making. Minus that. Oh, I mean, so we have a gate. We're going to get rid of the abilities. Now, you could also have it as an ability, but I'm going to keep it as a unit. So, of course, gate close and gate open. The thing about this, it should not cost food. It should not cost any gold. It should not cost any wood. And, of course, build time should be relatively high. So, we're going to have a 5-second build time to close. 1 second to open. Again, no food cost.